What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck. Eagles fans, y'all still mad? Give it up. Real Cowboys fans, stand up. And you're now tuned into the Cowboys Fans Only channel. So if you are new, do us a huge favor. Comment, like, subscribe somewhere down there, somewhere down there, somewhere down there. And be sure to turn the notification bell to stay updated with all Dallas Cowboys news and content. Also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at JTuck151. And of course, CowboysFansOnly.com. Well, yo, fam, y'all know it's Wildcard weekend. It's playoff time. We play against the San Francisco 49ers. And like I said in the last video, I'm amped up. Like, this is old school Tuck. This is like Tuck with the Trapper Keeper, you know, with the Pogs. Like, this is that type of rivalry back in the 90s. And the reason why I'm such a Dallas Cowboys passionate fan. So I had to find a guest that represents the other side, right? So I was scrolling through Twitter like, who can I bring on this channel that can definitely represent? And I found this guy and I was like, bingo, he's the one. Very knowledgeable. He knows his stuff, man. So I hit him up and he's coming on to join us. So even though he's a 49ers fan, extremely knowledgeable. So CFO gang, let's give a warm welcome to my guy, Eric Crocker. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, I appreciate you for joining on. Like I said, man, I was scrolling through the timeline. I saw your post. You're breaking down some film, whatnot on the 49ers. And I said, that's the guy. That's the guy I've been looking for, man. So, you know, also for the people who may not know, you also played at the NFL level before, correct?
Yeah, I was with the New York Jets for a little bit, 2013. That season, you know, Geno Smith rookie year, D Milliner, you know. Yeah, so yeah, 2013 I was with the Jets. Yep.
Good. So since you played cornerback, because we're going to dive into this matchup, but I got to ask you one specific question. So as you know, Trayvon Dix, our corner, 11 interceptions. What is your thoughts on Trayvon Dix? Do you believe he's elite? Because if anyone's going to know the position, you are going to know the position. What's your thoughts on Trayvon Dix?
You know, I think ideally you don't want to give up as many yards as he's given up, but you know, in today's day and age, with the way that football is played, everything tends to favor offense, and it's so spread out. It's easy to kind of get some completions. I appreciate a guy that, regardless of him getting beat or whatever, is not resulting in losses. And I think his impact of taking the ball away at the rate that he has, I think that impacts games much more than any amount of yards that he's given up. So 11 interceptions, I think that's awesome. You know, you can look at those in games and see where it mattered most, whether it was trying to get the Cowboys back in the game, like, you know, the Patriots game, or just, you know, really hurting a team like Washington, picking them off early in the game as well. So I appreciate his game. I've liked him, you know, since Alabama. I don't want to say I was worried about his athleticism or twitchiness, but I saw how it could translate to the game, and he messes with me because I was one of the guys that kind of called out how well I thought he was going to be after his rookie year. There were a lot of Cowboy fans that were a little upset with the way that it was kind of going for him as a rookie. Oh, he's getting picked on, this and that. And I'm like, man, he's right just there. And if you can be close enough and in position to make the play, which he was more times than not, he was contesting guys at the catch point, just maybe wasn't getting it out. I knew eventually the plays would start to go his way. And this year, he's definitely having a big year.
Yeah, and one thing about Cowboys fans, we lack patience, man. So Trayvon, you know, he had some hurdles early on his rookie season, but me personally, just like you said, bro, be patient, and those dividends are paying off because, like you said, 11 interceptions in one season, and there's still some more football left, which we're going to talk about. You got to be excited about it because a lot of those interceptions change the course of the game, whether you go to the Patriots game and so on, man. So I want to get your thoughts. Now we got that out the way because I had to ask that question. Tell everyone who's viewing the channel right now where they can find you and find all your information, bro.
Oh, yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. Obviously, you know, I favor talking about the 49ers, but through the draft process, man, I'll be talking about a ton of prospects. I have a draft show, Locked On NFL Draft. I actually kind of had like an interview with the New York Giants today as far as doing the draft podcast with them. So we'll see how that goes and how that whole thing shakes out. But definitely, I'm really big into the draft. Receivers and DBs, like, that's my thing, but I'm definitely more well-versed now as opposed to a couple years ago. So if you like draft talk and all that, Eric_Crocker on Twitter. Make sure you guys follow me. Then from there, you can find everything else, my little link tree with all my YouTube channel and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely give my guy a follow. Interesting interview here in a second with the Giants, man, because they fired their coach and Joe Judge. So they got some things changing. We know how, it wasn't even Black Monday because it happened kind of early. So a lot of different changes from the coaching landscape going on. So,
and it's not like an official, like, They have a main podcast guy for the New York Giants, their YouTube channel and all that.
Okay.
And he's trying to branch off and have a draft show. He wants me and another guy, Tony Pauline, to be a part of it. And it's supposed to be like a big thing. So they're pitching it right now. It's in the works. We'll see if it works out.
There you go. Well, best of luck. Now, to the nitty gritty. Wow, the real reason I brought you here is about this playoff matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers. So you grew up in Cali. But how did you really become a 49ers fan? Because there's some other teams in California you could have chose. How did you end up a 49ers fan?
I get that question a lot because my big brother, man, shout out to my brother. We're both going to be at the game. He's a diehard Cowboys fan.
You going to be there? Yeah, we'll have to link up. I'll be there. I'll fly out on Friday, man. So I'll be there too.
Oh, yeah. I fly in Saturday. I got to fly to Minnesota on tomorrow to evaluate some prospects at this training facility. But Saturday, I fly into Dallas, and I'll be there for a couple of days. But my big brother, diehard Cowboy fan, and my uncle, who I looked up to, diehard Cowboy fan. And for whatever reason, I'm from Stockton. My family's from the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. I asked my mom, like, "Hey, mom, at like 5 years old, who's your favorite team?" And she was like, 49ers. And I'm a mama's boy, so I'm like, "Oh, I'm a 49er fan." So that was actually how I became a Niner fan. That's the story behind it.
Now, I have to get on to your brother, man, because Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones specifically told Cowboys fans, do not give no tickets to no 49ers fan, man. So, this is conversation about, the Red Sea's coming to take over, and a lot of 49ers fans are talking about they're going to infiltrate Dallas and take over our stadium. I want to let y'all know, first and foremost, we ain't the Rams, so it's not going to happen as easily. But you got your brother who's a Cowboys fan letting 49ers fans in the building, man. See, this is how it happens, Cowboys Nation. But it's definitely going to be a fun game. So, to get into this matchup, you guys had to go through the Los Angeles Rams. And I know you guys had some success with them previously. But tell me a little bit about when you started off this season, what was your expectations for the 49ers versus where you currently stand?
Oh, I think the expectations were, this is a Super Bowl caliber roster. Obviously, if you have enough guys, stay healthy enough in the most important positions to kind of get through a season, you should be a 12-5 type team, like a lot what we see from the Dallas Cowboys. And, there's been some injuries here and there and some different things that have happened in the process. But when you go, because the 49ers just traded a bunch of picks to get the number 3 overall pick with Trey Lance. And they stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's fine. I get it. But you stick with Jimmy Garoppolo because you feel like right now we still are in a win now type thing. And the 49ers started the season 2-4. Right. And that wasn't what I think anybody signed up for with having Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback. So at that time, there were a lot of people calling for Jimmy Garoppolo's job, put the rookie in there. They were calling for Kyle Shanahan's job. People need to get fired, like all that. There was a lot of turmoil and a lot of building burning going on around the 49ers. But, when you have Kyle Shanahan, he stuck to his vision and his plan. The team turned it around and they got hot at the right moment, got some wins. There are a couple losses down the road that I'm pretty sure they would like to have back, like Tennessee game. That was 49ers should have blew Tennessee out from the jump. And we'll talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, how he kind of contributed to that loss. But the expectations definitely were Super Bowl. Now, again, will they win it? I don't know, but they have the right stuff to at least challenge teams to potentially get there.
Yeah, and I think when you look around the landscape, whether it's national media and just kind of what you're hearing now, a lot of it probably has to do with y'all facing us, right? Because a lot of people say the Dallas Cowboys, but it seems like a lot of people are high on the San Francisco 49ers right now. And the one thing they tie to you guys is physicality. You're a very physical team. You guys like to run the ball. You also have your front four. We all know about Bosa, the impact that he has. And so it seems like when it comes to the 49ers, you guys here have a clear identity. You're going to run the ball. You're going to get after the quarterback and let the chips fall as they fall. So to get into Sunday's matchup versus the Dallas Cowboys, when you look at the Cowboys, you look at, what we've done this far. You mentioned 12-5. We had some bumps in the road here and there, but for the most part, we've been extremely consistent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which a lot of Cowboys fans didn't see. So from a 49ers perspective, what are some things you see about the Cowboys that makes you think this might be a bad matchup for the 49ers?
Well, I think right away you look at Dak Prescott, and I know there's been some kind of up and down play, and a lot of people have kind of attributed to Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, and how sometimes his play calling can get a little stale and stagnant at different times, or maybe not be as, like versatile or like, do different things. And sometimes I guess he gets out there and he'll just run hitches and things like that.
Wide receiver screens.
Yeah, screens, things like that, where you have, you guys have, the Cowboys have special talent on the offense, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the two running backs, where, obviously Zeke, I know he's a little banged up right now, not 100%, but Tony Pollard, and then obviously look at the receivers with CeeDee Lamb. I know Gallup is out. I thought that would hurt the team, but I think Wilson has filled in well. And obviously Amari Cooper. So right away, it's really just the explosive ability that this offense has. And I think they proved that for the most part, leading the NFL in points per game.
Yep, exactly. And that's what a lot of people don't get, is that even though the 49ers do have an identity, we mentioned their toughness, we mentioned their run game, and their front four, the front seven actually, the Cowboys do have weapons. I think the problem with a lot of people when you watch the Cowboys this season, they really haven't put it together in games against high caliber opponents, whether that was Tampa.
Right.
Even though we did play lights out, I was there in that game at Tampa, we didn't walk away with the victory. Kansas City didn't kind of work out in our favor. And then recently the Cardinals, which is in your division as well. So I think that's why a lot of people are skeptical when it comes to the Cowboys progressing throughout the playoffs, versus when it comes to you guys, the 49ers, they just saw it coming off that Rams victory. So it makes it like, it's a little bit fresher in a lot of people's minds. But I feel like the Cowboys have more than enough capacity to walk in, this matchup and really come out. Now, on the flip side, you're on the coaching staff, right? When you watch film on the Dallas Cowboys, what is the one thing you're like, all right, that's what I'm going to take advantage of, and we're going to really seize our opportunity from the 49ers standpoint?
Well, I think everything that I hear about the Dallas Cowboys, and, again, I talked about all the terrific players that they have offensively. And defense, they got some special guys too, whether it's DeMarcus Lawrence, whether obviously, the rookie, Micah Parsons, he's doing amazing, right? And you got Trayvon Dix, he takes the ball away. But Kyle Shanahan, he typically doesn't really attack. Like, he's not just going to say, hey, and maybe it's because of who he has at the quarterback position with Jimmy Garoppolo,
right,
and it's not a strength of his, but he's not going to say, all right, Deebo Samuel, all right, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, just run straight and we're going to throw the ball down the field, or run a 10-yard stop and we're going to attack Trayvon Diggs outside the numbers. That's not what the 49ers do. What they do is they will, and Kyle Shanahan, he will work to put guys in conflict. And he really understands how to manipulate your rules and use those against you in coverage. So where I would look to, if I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, as to what maybe the 49ers might try to do, is I would look at that second level right there, the linebackers. And you have Parsons, he's terrific. You have LVE. I know he's up and down and he shows the ability to make plays at time. But if they aren't disciplined, that's in the area where it could be a little worrisome if I'm a Cowboy fan, because everything the 49ers want to do is over the middle. They don't throw outside the numbers. Right. They'll take schemed up shots here and there. You'll see that. But a lot of it is, can you get the linebackers to come down, and he's going to hit guys behind, and the 49ers are one of the best teams in the league with yards after the catch. So, you have Deebo Samuel, you have Ayuk, you have Kittle. All those guys are special in that from that standpoint. So I know you came on talking about, well, 49ers, they want to run the ball, and everybody talks about that. Like, yeah, 49ers definitely want to run the ball. But a lot of the running is to set up those big haymakers.
Right.
So they're going to show you things, and they're going to show you the stretch, and they're going to show you the toss, and then they'll do some toss counters, and they'll do some of those things. And then once they start getting in the rhythm, you'll start to see all the motions.
Boom, over top.
And once those motions start to happen, they're going to run out of that as well, and they're going to show it to you. And then once you least suspect it, they're going to act like they're doing that. And it's like, oh, I've seen it before. And Jimmy's going to raise up, and boom, he's going to hit somebody on the crosser or on the slant. and you got to tackle Debo. You know what I'm saying? And that's where teams, or you got to tackle Kittle. He's the best run after catch tight end in the league. And I think that's where sometimes teams can kind of get in the bind. But he does a really good job offensively of putting guys in a disadvantageous situation for their rules. So they're probably going to try to take away or manipulate the middle of the field for the Cowboys. So Van Der Esch, he has to be, he kind of got to be on his A game because he's probably the guy they have circled.
Yeah, and I agree. When I watch film on the 49ers, exactly what you mentioned, bro. A lot of body blows, so you wear down and then they hit you. But with that run game, they have a lot of motions, and so there got to be communications, especially at the second level, because Kyle Shanahan likes to get creative, get out the outside run, use Debo Samuel. As soon as you creep up, whether it's a play action or not, then that's when Jimmy G is comfortable, and he can make that comfortable throw. You know, it's not going to be deep. He's not going to be the guy that's going to hit you downfield constantly, but he can wear and tear and move the chains constantly throughout, getting the run game involved, getting those motions, getting you out of space, and getting you uncomfortable when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So, you know, it's definitely going to be a challenge. You know, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys have been challenged in that manner thus far this season, but, you know, it's playoff football, man, so you definitely got to be ready and be prepared.
Right, and they will. I mean, if the Cowboys just like, oh, man, we're just getting gas on the run, then they'll just keep running it.
Right.
But ideally, I think what he goes into the game thinking is the pass game works off of the run game. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo is not just this pure drop back passer that is going to drop back and throw the ball 35 times a game. That they don't want that. Now, can he throw? I think he can throw better than most people on the outside.
Give him credit for.
Give him credit for. He's better than that. Like, but he'll give you opportunities, and that's another thing too. The Cowboys, if he throws the ball to you, you gotta take advantage of that. You gotta pick it off. You gotta get points off of that. But there are a lot of times where he's going to be really efficient, especially over the middle of the field. That's kind of his bread and butter. And Kyle knows that. So they've kind of formed and schemed up an offense really surrounding that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So another thing that the conversation came out today about Trent Williams, your left tackle, and we all know how amazing Trent Williams is. It seems like he's battling an elbow injury. So there's a possibility, I think he was out today, but could be playing on Sunday. What are you hearing in regards to Trent Williams, his availability being on Sunday?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he doesn't play. Yeah. You know, Trent Williams, he's just different. And, you know, obviously, you know, he's playing in Washington for a long time. Like, you know, he's good. Right. He sat out a year, whatever. He's the best lineman I've ever seen in my life. And 49ers had Joe Staley for a lot of years. He's probably going to be in 49ers Ring of Honor and all that. Like, he was a good left tackle. He can't even hold Trent Williams' jockstrap. Like, he's really that good. And I think I just saw something where he just broke the PFF's grading scale, where he's the highest graded player in PFF like history, right? And I don't know, you know, whether you believe in PFF numbers or not, but it just kind of goes to show. They got Diggs
at 80 right now, 80th cornerback.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but it just goes to show, like, people respect at the whatever level it is, like, that's how good he is. So when he's on the field, he's great. There's been a few other times where he's kind of got banged up and he comes back and he's just fine. So I'd assume he'll play and he'll thug through it. He calls himself a silverback. He has the big old silverback tatted across his back and like a big old gorilla and all that. So when you talked about physicality with the 49ers, every time they come out, they got that big bump box, and right there in the front is Debo and Trent Williams, and those guys kind of set the tone for how the game is going to go.
Yeah, Trent Williams is definitely that guy. He reminds me of a guy that we have too as well, you know, and Tyron Smith. And so, you know, Tyron was out last week due to COVID, had an ankle injury, but we know when he's out there, it's a huge boost to our offense, and especially our offensive line. Now, from a Cowboys standpoint, that is one of our biggest concerns, right? I feel like this game is going to be won at the line of scrimmage. And when it comes to our offensive line, we had a lot of interchanging pieces, whether that was Zach Martin being out week 1 versus COVID, our left guard position when it comes to Connor McGovern, Connor Williams, they kind of subbed in and subbed out. Right tackle with Lyle Collins and also Terrence Steele. There was some subbing going on, especially after suspension. So we really don't have that continuity that we've been wanting for so long, that we've been accustomed to in Dallas for quite some time when we had the Great Wall. And so a lot of interchangeable pieces. You know, 2 weeks ago was the first time we had our starting offensive line finally all together, and then, you know, Tyron Smith was out. So Looking at your defensive front, we all know how Bosa is, but tell us a little bit about the other three guys and what they're able to do and how they're able to disrupt the offense.
Yeah, man. Eric Armstead, he's kind of, he's been terrific. He's not like a big high sack volume guy, but he does a lot of the dirty work, whether it's setting edges, being physical against the run, plugging up holes, taking on double teams. And that has kind of helped guys like Arden Key, who heading into this year, over 37 games, which was 3 years total. He played 37 games. He had 3 sacks. Now he has like 7 sacks since like week 9 or something like that. I think those are his only sacks this year, but he's turned it on. I think a lot of it was when Javon Kinlaw went out, who's supposed to be our main defensive tackle, plugging everything up at the 3 tech. He went out there to bump in Armstead, and it's like everybody on the D line just turned up. And I mean, they were solid, but a lot of it was on Nick Bosa, and that line was going as Nick Bosa goes. And everybody now, they give Nick Bosa so much attention. They double him, they chip him every chance they get. They motion guys down. I mean, it's nonstop people touching him. So somebody else has to win, and it's been the others, the guys like Ebucam. He's come on strong. Armstead, Arden Key, all those guys. So as a collective unit, 49ers, they don't like to blitz a whole lot. I mean, you might see like 2 blitzes in this game. Like, they want to win with their front 4, and they want to play coverage on the back end. Now, part of it is to protect the outside guys, especially the rookie Ambry Thomas. He's a young guy. He's kind of giving up some stuff. But the other part is that was kind of Robert Saleh's thing. Not blitz a whole lot. If he has the pass rush, sit back, play coverage, and make teams have to work. And that's kind of been the recipe for the 49ers. They don't have this efficient pass coverage, but because of, playing complementary football with the run game, being able to kind of just sit off and play coverage and keep more things in front of them, they've been pretty solid throughout the year, which is shocking because most people wouldn't guess they have the number 6 pass defense in the NFL, number 3 defense overall, which with all the injuries they've had is pretty amazing.
Right, and I agree. I think one of my key to victory when I make my key to victory video this upcoming week is we can't allow them to get pressure with just that front 4. So I feel like we're going to have to make you guys blitz, but if you're able to kind of sit back, drop in coverage, and just rush with 4 and cause pressure on Dak Prescott and still handle the run game efficiently, I think that's going to cause problems for this Dallas Cowboys offense. And so, from the Cowboys standpoint, we've been seeing a lot of different schemes when it comes to neutralizing this high-power offense that you mentioned, right? They've been showing a lot of heavy stunts, and they've been dropping back in coverage and forcing Dak to kind of make the underneath read. Now, we didn't see it versus Philly. Washington tried to get away with it for a little bit. So, when I watched the film on the 49ers, that's not really your strategy per se, but it might be a wrinkle in your playbook that you're going to toss out there because a lot of teams scheme the Cowboys differently than they scheme other teams. But when I went back and watched what you guys were able to do with the Rams, the thing that I noticed about the Rams game is that y'all didn't lose y'all identity because y'all got down early and you thought, okay, it's going to be Jimmy G, air it out, try to make a comeback. But no, y'all kept with the run. Y'all kept with the pressure. And so the 49ers know who they are. Like, they know who they are. They're not going to try to beat nobody else. They're going to stick to their guns and let the chips fall as they fall. Now, you mentioned the outside guys, the corners. So when I watched the film on you guys, I feel like that's going to be our key to taking advantage of you guys is in the passing game versus your corners. So how do you, what do you think about those matchups of your corner, your secondary, your safeties versus our wide receivers? You mentioned about CeeDee Lamb and Cooper, and also Cedric Wilson coming along strongly in the slot. And then we also got Dalton Schultz at tight end, but we also added back Blake Jarwin, which I think is going to give our 12 formation a huge boost.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the first thing people think about, especially, just the identity of the Dallas Cowboys. When you think of Dallas Cowboys, you think of the quarterback and those receivers, and I don't think that's a favorable matchup for the 49ers. Now, Emmanuel Mosley, he can play, and he had both corners had interceptions last game against the Rams, but Mosley can play. He had an interception down. I don't know what side it was. I was watching it. I was actually at the game,
okay,
but it was like on the left side for me. Had a nice interception. One thing that the 49ers will probably try to do, what they've done to some of the other teams that have explosive offensive weapons like the Cincinnati Bengals. They played a ton of too high, a ton of cover 4. And for a majority of that game, it really did a good job of slowing down Cincinnati's offense. Now, at one point, they started to kind of get a couple plays on the rookie, And we also had Josh Norman in that game, which he won't see the field at all.
But our old friend Josh Norman ain't gonna see Josh Norman.
You won't see. You probably won't, unless just something drastic happens. But you probably won't see him. But the safeties in the secondary are good. Tart and Ward, they're good. There are two really good safeties, whether it's in coverage or coming down making tackles. But they do a lot to protect the outside guys. So I would assume that, like you said, some of these teams that want to do a little bit more of making Dak Prescott check down, 49ers may take on that same type of thing. If it's anything like what I saw against the Bengals, that's what I would expect. Now, it's still, not easy, right? Cowboys, I see guys running through zones free, Wilson running, catching crossers wide open. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? Right. So if you aren't really on your game, or if your secondary guys aren't disciplined, or your pass rush isn't getting back there, I think the Cowboys will find a way to hurt you regardless.
Yeah, and you mentioned, two things about playing a cover 4 or playing a cover 2, having two high safeties, is being able to get the run game involved. Now, that we have Ezekiel Elliott, also Tony Pollard, but it comes down to Kellen Moore. Is he going to commit? Like, you guys have a top elite run defense. You haven't allowed over 100 yards within 9 games. So if we run the ball 2 or 3 times, we get stuffed in the backfield, Kellen Moore is prone to just say, all right, scrap it. You know what I'm saying? Let's air things out. So hopefully he'll have some more balance in his playbook, which I think he will this week, because Tony Pollard is coming off some rest. He didn't even travel last week. Zeke kind of looked like himself a little bit, clipsing 1,000 yards. So hopefully we'll see a lot more balance with the run game, which will open up the play action, but also we have to attack downfield, because I believe the corners are going to be your weakest link. So before I let you go, my guy, I got to get that prediction, man. I got to get that prediction from you. So I know you're going to be out there, Cowboys Nation, AT&T Stadium. We're going to be fired up on both sides. How do you think this game is going to go?
Well, obviously, I'm going to pick the Niners. Just being a Niner guy. But
hey, what would your brother say, man?
Right. But I will say this. Full disclosure. I was at the Rams game, and a Ram fan asked me, who do you have going to the Super Bowl? And I said, Kansas City and Dallas. And he was like, really, Dallas? And I was like, yeah, well, they might lack in certain areas, but they have a high explosive offense, and they take away the ball a lot on defense. Now, I think those two things, especially if you get the run game going, that's a recipe for success. Right. Now, they're playing against my Niners, so obviously I can't pick them. And I would say, but I would say, things that I feel like the 49ers probably need to do to be able to go into this AT&T Stadium and get a win. One, got to establish the run game. And obviously, like I said, everything that the 49ers want to do in the passing game works off of the run game. So if they can do that, they'll be all right. And then defensively, got to get there with the front four. If the 49ers have to start blitzing guys, it's going to leave holes in that defense, and the Cowboys have the guys to take advantage of it. So it's definitely a tough task. Right. 49ers run stop being defense has been elite since week 9. You touched on it. They've been giving up like 3.3 yards per carry. For forever. They're stopping the run. Right. If they can hopefully make the Cowboys one-dimensional and maybe not have, Kellen Moore be as creative with his play calling, I think, that's what could work in. And that's what we've seen when teams have kind of gotten to the Cowboys and made them more stagnant. Games like the Broncos game, I was watching that. Games like the Chiefs game, I was watching that. Those games where it's like, all right, I'm watching the Cowboys game. I'm like, what the hell? I just saw this team score 30-something points. Right. Why aren't they scoring anything? Why is it always when I put money on them, they don't want to score any points against the Chiefs, or they don't want to score against the Broncos? Like, how do you lose to the Broncos? They don't even got an offense. Right. So you have to – I'm hoping at some point in the game I'm asking those same questions. But how come the Cowboys can't score? Why can't they do this? But I'll be a lot happier about it if it's against the 49ers. So I say 49ers win 30-27. I think it comes down to the wire. Regardless of who wins or who loses, I do think it'll come down to the wire regardless, because the 49ers, they don't really get blown out. If you look at a lot of their losses, Green Bay early in the season, it was Aaron Rodgers driving the length of the field with 37 seconds, no timeouts, kicking a field goal to win the game. Game against Seattle, they always come down to the wire. It came down to a batted down ball on 4th down. The Cardinals game, even with young Trey Lance, it was 10-17. Right. So a lot of times these games are within a score and they don't get too far away from Niners. Even Tennessee, if it weren't for Jimmy Garoppolo throwing an interception on the second drive of the game and then throwing another one later and setting them up in short field position. I mean, that should have been a blowout. 49ers were up 10-0 at halftime. Tennessee had 50 yards of passing or total offense in the first half. Take advantage of that, you know, they weren't able to because sometimes Jimmy has these weird moments. So I guess that's another key to victory for the 49ers. No weird moments from Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, we need a few of those weird moments. You know, like I said, the turnover margin is key, and that's the one thing we do best defensively. So, well, of course, it's my prediction. I got the Cowboys winning. I hope it's not a close game, and the reason for our standpoint is our kicker ain't reliable, bro. So, like, our kicker's a little shaky, and so if we're going a back and forth game, and it might come down to that extra field goal, who knows how it can go. But I think this is going to be one of those old school tough matches, time of possession. So every time our offense gets the hands on the ball, we have to make something happen. And turnovers are going to be real important because we need those extra possessions, especially against a team like San Francisco that can run the ball, control the clock, move the chains. So it's definitely going to be a fun matchup. Jerry says it's going to be 100,000 out there, and I think we're probably going to be close because I know a lot of 49ers fans, they're talking about coming down. Cowboys Nation, we're going to be fired up, man. I cannot wait for this matchup. But, hey, my guy, I appreciate you for stopping by. I appreciate everything you do, man. Keep up the incredible work, great content. So, once again, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, y'all can follow me on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. Again, I know I'm a 49er guy. I'm in enemy territory right now. But a lot of draft content that's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. So keep it locked. I'll be at the Senior Bowl. I'm credentialed for the Senior Bowl. I'm credentialed for the HBCU, their combine.
There you go.
That's in a couple of weeks. Good. So I'll be there. And so if you love the draft,
we love draft content. Now that's the hard part because I do draft content as well. And so I've been trying to hold off until the season was over. So hopefully you won't see no draft content on this channel for a few more weeks, and then we'll definitely circle back around and link up, man, and dive into this draft. But I appreciate you, man. For everyone seeing me for the first time, Cowboys fans only, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment below. We appreciate all the support. Also on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at JTuck151, and of course, CowboysFansOnly.com to get your official merch. And so it's going to be a fun game Sunday, Cowboys Nation and Niners Nation. Let the old school rivalry begin. You know, a lot of kids are young. They're like, I don't know what y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't know about this. Like, y'all don't know about Morton Hanks and, you know, the old school. Like, this is what I grew up
How old are you?
How old are you? My birthday was just yesterday, so I just turned 38.
Okay, so I'm 34.
Okay.
And happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I'm 34, so I'm right there at that cutoff.
Okay.
You know, when the 49ers won the Super Bowl, I was like 7, 8 years old. So I remember it. And now it's against the Cowboys, but you know, it's still been like this super rivalry just in my household because my brother's a diehard Cowboy fan. So this rivalry, it runs deep within the older fans. Yeah. And you know, just guys like me who we have a split household.
Yep, there you go. There you go. It's gonna be a fun one. Well, hey everyone, I want everyone to stay safe, everyone stay blessed and stay encouraged. And of course, go Cowboys. Peace.